Hi there, I'm Jonathan with Long Falls Paperboard. Today, I'm walking you through the software you'll need to know as a fourth hand on the board machine. Let's get into it. As the set is kicked off of the rewinder, the fourth hand will begin by collecting the roll diameter and the weight of roll A. This is actually the only information that the fourth hand will need to collect before he is able to continue to use the Panther software to finish up the process. The fourth hand will have to then set up the linear feet calculator to get an exact measurement for the amount of footage in each roll. This calculator takes into account caliper, core size, and roll diameter in order to get this measurement. We get the caliper from the test summary sent to us from the backtender. The application looks like a computer monitor. When you open the application, you want to make sure you're on the correct reel. Let's say for this example, we're using reel 3. You want to look under Caliper Lab and see that the value is 26.7. We're going to take that value back into this Excel document and type in 26.7 as our value. We're then going to put in the core size and the roll diameter. Let's say we're on a 4-inch core, and the diameter that we measured was, let's say, 53¼ inches. That kicks out a linear footage of 6,908 feet. We're going to remember this for now and open the winder document next. Or the winder application, excuse me. It looks like a small disk. When you get into it, you want to once again make sure you're on reel 3, and then you're going to click Create Set. You're then going to type in the actual length that we just calculated. Remember, that's 6,908. You're then going to hit OK, and you're going to transfer one more time into a new document. This time it's going to be the scale document. You're going to refresh the page until the two rolls come up. You can see we have roll A and roll Z. Roll A, we know the weight because we measured it. Let's say it was 2,600. You're then going to print it. That's the button up here. And because the width is the same for both rolls, the weight will be the same for both rolls. But let's say, for example, we have a different type of pattern. We have a 40-45, for example. We're going to have to do something else to get the weight for the Z roll. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to set up an equation. And that equation will be the weight of roll A divided by the width of roll A multiplied by the width of roll B, or, the second roll Z for our example. And that's going to kick out the weight of roll B. Let's give an example to get some numbers in there. So for our example, let's say roll A is a 40 and it weighs 2,520 pounds, and roll Z is a 45. So plugging into our equation, we're going to have 2,520 divided by 40 multiplied by 45 will give us our weight of roll Z of 2,835 pounds. We will then take this number and plug it into the scale application for roll Z, and you will be able to print your label using that number. The next thing that you will need to know is how to locate and print out the machine run schedule as well as the Deckle Sheets for each individual pattern. The first thing you need to do is open up the Panther shortcuts folder on the desktop, and then open up the Panther reports extension from within the folder. It will then ask you to log in, and once you do so, navigate to the scheduling folder from within this menu. From the top of the folder, you will see Machine Run Schedule, and the board machine will come up as Machine P. Click on the View Report, and the Machine Run Schedule will then come up. At the top of the schedule, you will see what is currently on the board machine. So in this instance, it is P1739, which is a 27-point core board. From the schedule, you can see how many sets have been planned and thus far produced, but you can't see any further information on those sets that are produced. For that information, you will need to load up the Deckle Sheets later. One thing to note about the schedule is, especially on the bottom of the list, things aren't as exact. The run schedule becomes extremely fluid as you push it down the list, as new orders come in with higher importance, so it's really only good to trust maybe the first 5 in a row to determine what is coming up on the board machine. And you can always communicate this with the backtender if you are unclear on what is coming up. To locate the further information on the sets planned, we need to load up the Deckle Sheets. To do this, look at the pattern ID that you want to look at. Again, ours is P1739. And we're then going to open up the pattern summary from within the Panther reports. We're going to type in that pattern and click View Report. Once again, the Deckle sheet will come up, and from this you can see the width of each roll that's in this pattern, as well as the number of sets that have been put on good, hold, and beater. This information is extremely important, so it's good to print out these Deckle sheets at the start of every shift. When you're printing out the Deckle sheets, make sure you print out 3 copies, as one will stay with you in the fourth hand booth, a second will go with the third hand at the winder, and the third copy will go into the lab with the backtender so that everyone stays on the same page. The next thing we need to talk about is how to change the roll status. So if for whatever reason the rolls that come off of the winder don't meet the certain specifications for the order, we sometimes need to put rolls on hold or on beater, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So if you just hover over the roll that you need to change, let's say the Z roll had a wrinkle in it, for example, and it needs to go on hold or beater. All you need to do is right click on it and it'll change the color blue. That means it's selected. And then you can choose either by the roll, so this would be just the Z roll, or by the set, so that would change the entire set that comes off. And then right here is under status, you can make it beater, good, hold, trial, etc. So that's how you do that. And you can also do this from within the scale window. You can do it when it first gets sent over to the scale, or after you print the labels. If you need to go back, you just go into the reprint labels section, select the roll that you would like to change, and then once again right click and change roll status will become available. And it'll be the same menu. You trial, hold, beater, good. And so it's right available for you. You can also do this from within the inventory, so that would be, you know, one additional step because you have to scan a label and whatnot, but it can be done from the inventory. The one thing to note is that you can't add splices from the inventory, but you can add splices right here. So splices are usually something that would, you know, change the roll from a good roll to a hold roll, for example, if the customer doesn't want splices. So that can be done from right here, and everything else can be done from here in the scale, but splices is the only exception to that. It can only be done from the winder application. That should conclude all of the computer software that you'll need to know as a fourth hand.